Hello, and welcome to The Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and where you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I am your girl, Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Purr. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I today am currently drinking orange juice because it's very early in the morning, and orange juice just seems right since I don't drink coffee. So it just seems right because apparently here on the Cup TV for our wrestling podcast, we decided that the mornings are the best time to start a podcast these days, and we're gonna just keep on doing that. I guess I don't know, but here we are. I am not drinking out of my cup mug because you know what? I am not at home. And therefore my cup mug is there. But as you see, Brooke is back in the building with their cup mug. Da-na-na-na. And I appreciate that so much because somebody has to model it for me because you can get your cup mug at lanagcreations.etsy.com where we do ship internationally and domestically. So there are no excuses. And I'm looking at you, WWE Universe. I'm looking at all of you because why not get some more merch? Like we don't have enough merch, just get our merch too. Period.
Description below.
It is. That will be you, Topher.
I am the man that would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. I am Toph M. Punk, and I am here to be the worst in the world at what I do because you can't be the best. So I can definitely go down to being the worst. Drinking this morning, double fisting. I've got water in one hand, coffee in the other. Not in a cup mug, although it should be in a cup mug. I need to really subscribe and get a cup mug. But I am here looking forward to this War Games match.
War Games!
And you know what? Every one of you has the opportunity to be better than Topher right now because you can subscribe and get a cup mug at this current moment like I did, but unfortunately it is dirty. So, because I'd be using it even outside the podcast. It's a good mug. What can I say? Right now, I got a thermos filled with water. And you know what it is, man. I'm Wes, and I'm here to talk about wrestling. It's good. I'm ready. Good morning. Very refreshed. I'm a morning person. So I'm ready to go. I'm hyped. I had a back injury, but you know what? We're good. We're going to recover and push through.
Period.
Just like Seth Rollins.
Period.
You're going to get your butt kicked in a last man standing match and then win with a Falcon Arrow through a table.
That's exactly what I'm planning on.
So, hi, everybody. It's Brooke and Chicago? Chicago.
Period.
Also, Chicago, just a quick note, one of my favorite wrestling crowds, always a great crowd. So, tonight's going to be fun, especially with the rumors about CM Toph making a return. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
I will brag on my city because as you people may or may not know, I am born and raised in Chicago, wrestling cities where you just have the best time at every event. And unfortunately for me, I moved away from Chicago before I was able to actually go and enjoy being in the arenas for wrestling like I am now in my life, because now I'm an adult and I can afford to buy my own tickets. Back then, parents were right. Back then, my parents were not buying me wrestling tickets, so it was like I just had to watch it on TV like everybody else. But I too enjoy the wrestling crowds in Chicago, and I am bummed because I was like this close to going. this close to being there podcasting right now from a hotel room in Chicago to talk about Survivor Series. And it just didn't happen for me. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. My time will come. But yes, y'all, we are here to talk about war games. And you know what? I think for the first time in a few pay per reviews that we've seen, I'm actually starting off this podcast excited about this war games. I'm not like, I'm gonna go in and see what happens and then come back and be like, you know what? It was better than I thought. Maybe I'm setting myself up for failure. Maybe I'm going in too excited, and then they be like, and then we watch and be like, it wasn't as good as I thought. But I am optimistic about this war games. What y'all think?
Shout outs to evil, optimistic Resident Diva today, because I'm right with you, Lana. I am optimistic as heck. Very fan. I think this lineup's really cool. I think this is gonna be really cool. And instead of saying WWE, I'm like WWE, baby.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is
I
going to
think-
be. Oh, go ahead, Bert.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
I think this is going to be the best event so far this year, post WrestleMania, and it's got a lot to live up to. I think the crowd is going to be hot. Historic things happen at the Rosemont Horizon. It's sort of WWE's MSG of the Midwest. This is going to be This is Cody Rhodes coming back to Chicago, and big things happen for Cody Rhodes in Chicago. Other things may happen for people in Chicago. There's so much that could possibly happen tonight. The return of Randy Orton, we have so much on this card. It is loaded, and it only has 5 matches.
5.
And also, this is our last pay-per-view of the year. We don't got anything else in December, so it's really going to be one of those things like, let's see if they can end the year on a bang. Well, okay, we also have NXT Deadline, but main roster, we're ending on arguably one of the most exciting cards of the entire year. And it's crazy that we really only have 2 titles on the line tonight. And the War Games matches have just been both so well built that I think no matter what, even outside of those 2 matches, I don't think anybody would be super excited for this card. But those 2 matches have just been so strongly built that I think we're all just really excited about it. And then after this, we are officially on the road to the Rumble, baby.
I'm
Which
very
is-
excited about
Which is going to
that.
be great. Tune into the Cup for some extra coverage on Road to the Rumble.
Oh,
I was gonna, thanks for mentioning that because that was gonna come up later, but here we are. But let's just jump right into this because this is what we're here for. We're talking war games.
War Games. Also, quick note. William Regal, specifically, as you may or may not know, has been back with the company since the beginning of the year, right? In order to get out of his AEW contract early, he had to not be on TV until January. So, we could be getting William Regal back on TV in January. If anyone else is excited about that, just like I am, because God, he needs to be the GM on NXT again. But, yeah, all of that.
Well, War Games, Survivor Series happening, and I don't know the card order. I just went by putting the slideshow together how I want the card to go, I guess. Because I feel like we should start this card off with a bang. And why not start it off with our ladies doing it, setting the standard for what the night needs to be. And we have Shotzi, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca Belair going against Damage Control. Now, I don't know about you. I'm excited about this match. Honestly, I'm looking at Damage Control and I'm like, yo, Damage Control is now not like they weren't legit before, but they are serious, a serious faction that I'm like, I can get behind this villain faction of Damage Control with the addition of Kairi Singh and Asuka. I'm kind of digging them together. And I feel like this is very short term, very short. It's going to be short lived. It's not going to happen for long because number one, Bailey is not going to stay not the leader for too much longer, in my opinion. And then the way Io is coming out, which I love, Io Sky is definitely starting to be like, look, I am the champion. This is I'm the champion, not nobody else. Y'all look at me. I'm bringing people in. I'm making things happen. I'm making these moves. For her to get Kari and Asuka to come into damage control is kind of like iconic for me. And then on the other side, you have these four amazing superstars. Well, yeah, four amazing superstars. And I'm like, how are they going to work? Because we got history between the two of them, which we saw a little bit on SmackDown last night, that played out. And well, shoot, history between with the three of them. And Shotzi is like
Is there?
Is there. Shotzi is there. But I like this for Shotzi because I think Shotzi can get it. Hopefully, people can start seeing Shotzi as a performer that you actually want to watch. Maybe her being in the midst of this, people will be like, okay, let's see what Shotzi can do. Do I think Shotzi gonna be the first person to lose in the War Games? Probably. But it will be good to see what Shotzi can do with these three on her team. I'm excited about this. I think I talked too much about it, but I'm excited. What y'all think? Jump in.
Well, first off, on the subject of Shotzi being here, right? Because I've seen a lot of discourse online about this feels like three amazingly talented people and Shotzi, and I don't like that discourse because one, Shotzi has had a crap ton of really good matches. The problem is they have not built her too particularly well in any of her storylines to the point where fans would care about her yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think this could be a bit of a coming out party for her if she, gets given the opportunity to run with the ball here. She does have War Games experience. She fought at TakeOver War Games ages ago in NXT, so she has been in War Games before. I'm pretty sure the only person in this match who has not been in War Games is Kairi Sane. Possibly Bailey. I'm not sure about Bailey offhandedly, but I know the others have. Maybe Charlotte too, actually. I don't know. But regardless, Io Sky has been in every single women's War Games match in this company since they introduced the concept. She is going to be a huge X factor here. But we also need to talk about the lingering presence of Dakota Kai, who, as much as Io is like the champ and has Asuka and Kairi there, does anyone else feel like Dakota may or may not be the one leading damage control at this point? Because that's what it feels like to me. Because you're getting all of this like Dakota Kai shade coming out. So I'm excited for that. Also, I am praying we get an insane elbow off the top of the cage. That would make me so happy. But this match is honestly my match of the night pick, like the one I'm the most excited for. I think it's been the best well-built storyline. And I don't know who's going to win as of right now. It's kind of a hard thing to call for me.
I think that this match has been built so well. I love the fact that for both War Games matches, and we'll talk about the other one later, they really knew, like starting 6 months ago, planting the seeds and some real genuine long-term storytelling. Because what wouldn't make this concept would not work if it was just, it's War Games time, everybody win a qualifying match to get to participate in War Games, and then throwing in 10 random superstars. We're not doing that. We're building actual blood feuds to give these superstars a reason to be inside of War Games. And I am looking forward to the caliber of star power that is in this match. And these women have a lot to prove. They know they want to go in and they want to be better than the men's War Games match. And they have a lot of hype to live up to. And so I can see them absolutely looking forward to stealing the show. Shotzi, this is best case scenario for her. Yes, on paper, you look at it and you go, circle the one that doesn't belong. But sometimes you need to have, not everybody is a main eventer, right? You have to have other places on the card to fill out. Not everybody is the star. So having Shotzi get this rub from Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and, Bianca Belair, which is an all-star team. That is going to be amazing for Shotzi. And Shotzi is going to be the one that is being the workhorse in this match. Shotzi is going to carry the load. They may even throw Shotzi in first. I don't know. But yeah, this has been such well-developed story. I'm excited to see what happens with Damage Control. Do we think that it's going to stay 4 versus 4, or are we getting an extra 5th member on each side? And if we are, what are the odds that we get Sasha Banks?
0.
Well, I will tell you right now, unfortunately, we live in a world where that chance is definitely 0. But here's what I can tell you guys. Listen to what Brooke said. I'm going to do a little quick roundabout back to what Brooke said, which Brooke said, the best built match on the card. And Brooke's right. And this is a women's match. So we're always, boo WWE, you never give women good storylines, you're not giving them the time of day, and you suck eggs. But I'm going to give them their props this time, because this is amazing. That's number 1. Number 2, praise for WWE. You give me another Japanese talent, I'm always a fan. Not only do I love Japanese wrestling, but I'm a huge Asuka fan. So sitting Asuka with all of her great pals on a faction, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be amazing. And this is its debut in full power. And I think we're going to see that. Also, of course, shout out Bayley, my favorite horsewoman. But I need to talk about Bayley real quick. This is going to be Bayley's first match with new Damage Control. And I think we're going to watch as her control over Damage Control is going to start to slip here and lead to her having a little bit of frustration with the other wrestlers of her faction, including Dakota Kai, who's probably just going to try to keep this all together for as long as it can. And maybe if Bayley is able to eventually leave Damage Control, I'll get to see some of her awesome singles action again. So I would be pretty happy with it. We'll see. I have a feeling, though, because we're dealing with Triple H now, and he is addicted to long-term storytelling. So I think it actually might be more than just one pay-per-view before we start seeing fissures in Damage Control. I think he might take this long-term. It took about a year to get Damage Control up and working before it was just absolutely, for the first year, it was kind of weird a little bit to me. And now it's finally hitting its full peak. I think he's going to try to keep it here for as long as possible before dissenting it. Think like the Bloodline. And then lastly, with the match and Shotzi and all that, got a comment on that. I think Shotzi will be fine here. Survivor Series is a place where we have seen the underrated or the mid-carder really shine in these types of matches. So I think that Shotzi has a great opportunity. I'm not going to pretend that she's at the same caliber as the other women in the ring that she's sharing it with, to me. But she has every chance to prove me wrong. That's how I feel.
I agree. I think this could be a good coming out party for Shotzi. I think she can come in there and be that person who we were like, you know what? I didn't expect this from Shotzi, and she can make us see her now and make the fans see her as who she is, as the wrestler she wants to be. So I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see this match.
Well, one thing is somebody, again, as the resident NXT stan account here, and the one that, I would consider myself to be the biggest NXT fan on the panel. Shotzi's original thing that really got people to pay attention to her in NXT was her appearance in War Games. And if you really look into that match, right, and you see some of the craziness that she was doing, I honestly think she's going to be the MVP of this match. I cannot wait, because Bianca and Becky and Charlotte are very good at telling compelling singles stories, right? But the one thing we haven't really been able to see for them, at least recently, is how well they thrive in an Extreme Rules, hardcore, whatever we're calling it nowadays, environment, right? That's where Shotzi shines. So I'm hoping she'll be able to shine like she has in the past here. I really hope she is not just here to eat a pin, because that is my low-key biggest worry of this match, is that Shotzi is only here to eat a pin.
So what you're telling me, Brooke, is we need to give Shotzi a shot?
Literally, give her a chance. Because, okay, quick sidebar. A few months back, we had the releases, right? And if you look at the people who got released in that mass wave of releases, some of the people that stood out were like Emma and Riddick Moss, right? Who were two really talented people, but they never got a chance after, 2022 to prove their stuff. So I'm hoping that Shotzi gets this chance and does really well here. And low key, I think the faces might win and Bailey eats a pin here.
Well, and on the flip side of the Shotzi side of things, I think this is also going to be a time for Kairi Sane to really get her shine. I do think that she did not get a very good run when she was on the main roster. And even though she was teaming with Asuka, they were kind of relegated to that women's tag division, which really wasn't doing a whole lot back at that time specifically. So I do think Kairi Sane fell victim to the pandemic era. You know, that's what she was going into WrestleMania. The tag program was hot, and then it just kind of pittered out from there. And so I'm excited to see what Kairi Sane, the Pirate Princess, also brings to the table. And I think heads are going to turn. A lot of casuals and a lot of non-casuals are tuning in tonight. And I think that this is going to make the people that only like to sit on one side of the aisle because they just hate everything WWE does take notice and go, oh, Triple H's WWE is a little bit closer to my taste of wrestling than Vince's WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also have to say, listen, there have been a lot of matches where I'm like, man, I'm a little lost on what the finish is going to be. Nope, not this one. Now, I'm not getting any Westradamus vibes here, I'll tell you. But I am very confident that this is going to be the beginning of the dominance of Damage Control. We are looking at, in my opinion, probably the greatest women's heel faction we've ever seen to exist. Just from my knowledge of wrestling. And so I think it's going to start, and it's going to be a long time before this group is fully beaten and dissolved. We've already seen long-term storytelling is Triple H's thing, and so I think that's what we're going to see here. And I agree completely that this is time for Kairi Sane's shine. I love Shotzi. This is her shot. If she takes her shot, good. If not, it is what it is. But this is her shot, and you know what? That's what's going to be. This is Kairi Sane's moment. There is no, will she take this? Is she going to utilize this opportunity? The answer is yes, yes, and yes. The Kabuki Warriors is cool. Damage Control is extra cool. This is amazing.
All right.
Who did you vote for in the Ruffles poll?
Oh, quick note. That irritated the crap out of me. Okay? Because you let the men, right, not only have a match to decide who gets advantage, right? It's the main event of the Go Home Raw, right? And you let the women's match get decided by a fan poll. A sponsored fan poll. Cringe. Absolutely not.
It's Nick Khan for you.
Ugh.
Making that money.
Yes,
We're not charging for pay-per-views.
I have to hate to tell you guys, but if you guys actually believe that the fan poll even has to be legit, I don't know. You guys ever thought about if they just go, hey, this is a fan poll? It totally is, just like a bunch
To
of
be
other
fair,
things.
though, Cyber Sunday, when they ran that, if you ask anybody who was involved, all of those votes were legit because Edge was supposed to win the world title that 1 year at Survivor Series that Michaels ended up beating him in the poll. So, like, you know, Cyber Sunday kind of makes me think. I mean, honestly, though, they already know who won because they closed the voting, like, earlier today, I think, or yesterday night. So they already know who won. They're going to announce it on the show. I guarantee you it's going to be the face team that won, but like,
Yeah, which to me,
I voted
don't
for Damage
know.
Control.
I voted for
I don't
Damage
know.
Control.
Exactly. I think Damage Control, if it is the faces, I would almost colludes, a little bit to like maybe this is a little BS. But I do have to admit, in a world, all right, I'm going to paint you guys a picture real quick. In a world where the faces win the poll and then win, you know how hilarious it would be to watch Bailey complain to Ruffles?
Yes.
I do love me some Bailey.
We lost because of Ruffles.
Right. I think that's and it's right up Bailey's alley.
It's pretty
Also,
hilarious. Won't happen.
Quick question: is Charlotte a face right now? Because to me, I can't really tell.
Yeah.
Because she came back and beat Ronda for the belt, and then she went away for a little bit, right? And then she was kind of acting like a heel in that feud with Bianca and Asuka when they were doing that like triple threat, and when Io won the title. And now it's kind of like, I don't like you, but I'm also Charlotte Flair. Ergo, I'm always a heel, but not really. Like,
And you
Charlotte's
answered yourself.
character's in a
Yeah.
Charlotte's character's in a weird spot right now, and I can't really determine where she's at.
Charlotte's not a heel. Charlotte is not a face. Charlotte's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
Like,
Charlotte's Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
But
Better or worse?
she's transcended being a heel.
Right.
Like,
Or face.
she'll always be, and if she try, she's the most over as a
Yes.
face when she's playing a heel. So it's like one of
You're
those
not
things
wrong.
where, you know, like it's very Randy Orton-esque, where it's like, Randy, you don't be a babyface, Randy Orton. You're not a white meat babyface. Quit coming out here trying to kiss babies. No, kick a baby in the head. That's what we want to see from you, and we will cheer it every time.
Speaking of people that shouldn't be the babyface, please tell me Gunther and Miz is next, because that would be a very good transition.
Yes! Gunther and The Miz is next for the IC title. Brooke Stradamus is here because I did not show my slides at all. So, but this is what I wanted to see happen. I wanted this match next. I feel like if any match could follow the women's match, which is I think it's gonna be a really good match, it probably will be the IC title of Gunther versus The Miz, because who doesn't think the man who lost to Snoop Dogg at WrestleMania is going to come and beat the longest running IC champion of all times? And you know what? I think it could happen. I can't even say
Let me
that.
tell
I'm
you.
straight-faced. I can't, but go ahead.
It is about time they have given Gunther a real opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've needed Gunther to face a two-time WWE champion, WrestleMania main eventer. Okay, yes, I know he faced Drew McIntyre, who is also a two-time WWE champion, WrestleMania main eventer, but The Miz has the Riz. Okay, you cannot get into the ring with The Miz without all of the media watching. For the first time, Gunther, he's going to be featured on Access Tonight. He's going to be featured on, Inside
TMZ.
the NFL. He'll be featured everywhere that The Miz is featured. Miz and Miz TV. This is Gunther's big break.
Mm-hmm. He needed it. He needed
did.
this big break. Because we do we really know Gunther? Do we really know who he is? Do we
Nope.
really understand the man behind the belt? But you know who can bring that out? It's the man who has his own reality show, is a part of the It Couple, who is the power couple, who is the Miz. Everywhere you go, paparazzi follows. That is the Miz. And Gunther is lucky to get this shot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Gunther may have the best chops, but The Miz has the acting chops. So, which is better in a wrestling ring? Tell me.
Jesus
Listen.
H. Christ.
Listen, guys.
Um,
Listen, no. Listen, Brooke. You have to understand. Gunther is the longest reigning IC title champion in history, but The Miz has sunglasses.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't even with you all right now. Okay, so take that, rewind it back. So The Miz is an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. 8-time.
8.
He is one of 2 people who has hit the Grand Slam twice.
8-time.
Okay. The
8-time.
only other person being Seth Rollins. Okay.
Yep.
Both
8-time.
of those people are the only 2 people. No more Booker T, please.
8-time. I'll go to 8. You wait.
Please don't.
Please don't.
But Miz is legitimately one of the most decorated people in the history of this company,
Mhm.
guaranteed to get into the Hall of Fame when he's retired.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not act like he's even remotely a legitimate challenge to this reign right now. Absolutely not. Miz is a great, entertaining competitor. But when you compare that to the absolute, legendary status of this IC title reign that Gunther is on right now, almost 100 days over the previous record. It'll be 100 days in about 3 weeks over the Honky Tonk Man's former record with that singles reign. Gunther is now the 4th longest reigning IC title champ with, if you count all reigns inclusive, he is just under 100 days away from breaking that record. And he only needs to hold it until about WrestleMania to get that record. So bear that in mind. Keep that one in the back burner there. And one of the people he has to pass, though, is The Miz. So I just don't see a world where there's no way that Gunther loses this match. But I could see this feud going on. I don't want it to, because The Miz should never be a face. But that's just me.
Is The Miz really a face in this match, though?
Yes.
Is he?
I,
I don't know, because here's the thing. For me, I think The Miz is another one of those people who now the fans don't even want to see The Miz as a face, so we don't even treat him as the face. You know what I mean? Like he's sometimes he's alright, but then other times you like don't cheer for The Miz. Nobody really cheers for The Miz. I think the last time we actually cheered for The Miz, like for real, was when he was doing that feud with Shane. And it was like, okay, because Shane was really nasty to The Miz at that point. So it was like, we really want The Miz to finally get back at Shane, But after that, like, nobody really cheers The Miz. We most people just look at The Miz and be like, okay, you're entertaining. He gives us good Miz TV, and he's that person that you love to he annoys you, but you don't really mind him, but you don't really like cheer for The Miz. I don't know what he's a little, I don't know. Go ahead.
Lana, we've got an opportunity. All right. No matter what Brooke thinks, no matter what anyone thinks, here's what's going to happen. All right. And I only know this because, I follow a little bit of sports. We have a great opportunity here, because what obviously is going to happen is Miz is obviously too dominant for Gunther to handle. There's no way that the wrestling community would believe that the Miz would not be able to win this. And so what we could have happen is we're going to get the surprise entrance of NFL star Joe Burrow, because he's coming off of a recent injury from the NFL. And if anyone can pin Miz, it's an NFL star.
Yes.
And so the only thing we actually have available to us, but we do have it, is to grab newly mentally injured Joe Burrow from the Bengals. And you know what? He can take the pin. And that's the only believable answer to be able to take out our boy Miz here.
So, if I could be serious for a moment on the topic of face and heels, this is a great opportunity to transition Gunther from being a heel to becoming a dominant face, because now we are not rooting for Gunther to want to lose his championship. I can see some slight dissension in the ranks in Imperium, right? And I think who better to create that turn than The Miz? Because how do you bet? This is not. In what world do we really, really want to not see Miz get his face knocked in by Gunther, right? Like Miz is a chicken S heel for all of lifetime, right? And Gunther is a perfect dominant babyface who has been on an incredible run. And then you've got squirmy little Miz here that just needs to get punched in the face, and Miz is not going to let him punch him in the face. I think that we're finally going to get to see Gunther take out The Miz, shut The Miz up, and he's going to do that to a standing ovation, because what better place for a double turn than in WrestleMania 13's own Rosemont Horizon, where the most famous double turn in the history of all of wrestling took place. So I think this is Gunther's come out party. I think we're going to see Gunther walk away from this as a face with the cheers from the crowd, because they're going to cheer him anyway, because Chicago is full of the internet wrestling community. And we are going to now see a new era of Gunther, because we need to root for Gunther going into WrestleMania. We need sympathy on Gunther. We need Gunther to be the guy if he is going.
Because we need another heel champion. Topher, right. You're right.
Gunther's winning this match.
Gunther's winning. It's going to be another Gunther slaughter. Moving on for me.
I don't think it'll be a Gunther squash. I don't think it'll be a squash. I think they'll put some time in. There's only 5 matches.
Yeah, and 2 of those are war games.
War game matches. So.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys would underestimate the Miz like this. Obviously, the Miz.
Obviously.
I,
Okay.
I estimate him.
I estimate him. I just don't think he's winning this.
He's
match.
gonna win. He's gonna win, guys. The popularity
Okay.
contest.
All right.
Maybe not the
Moving
match.
on to Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. And you know what? I'm happy for Zoe Stark in this match. I am very glad that she gets this opportunity to face Rhea Ripley one-on-one, not in a fatal four-way match, not no, stupid stipulation match, just one-on-one, Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ripley to show what she can do. I don't think she's gonna win this match, but this is a match. We said it before. You don't have to win matches to actually win in the WWE. And I think this is one of these matches where Zoe Stark doesn't have to win it, but it will show who she is as a performer, as a superstar, and I think we're going to get a really good show from Zoe Stark, because even in that fatal four-way match back in the last pay-per-view, I felt like she was one of the standouts in that. And I was very, very, very impressed with her. So I can't wait to see what she can do in a one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley. And I'm excited to see it.
I think this is Zoe Stark's opportunity to really, really get over. And I would like to see if, based off of how she performs in this match, could we be looking at Zoe Stark potentially being a candidate to win the Royal Rumble? That's all I'm looking for out of this match. I think Rhea Ripley wins it hands down. I don't think that's a question. But I think that Zoe Stark is going to put on a hell of a show. And we're going to find out if Zoe Stark has got what she needs to go on to the next level. And I think there's not a whole lot of women that I could necessarily say I can call them winning the Rumble right about now. So Zoe Stark,
There are 4 people who have a realistic shot of winning the Women's Royal Rumble. We do not need a 5th. Okay, we don't. Okay. To be clear, those 4 people are Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Bayley,
And The Miz.
Kairi Sane.
And
so
The Miz.
we do not need a 5th person who is in contention to win the Women's Royal Rumble. So
Becky's already won the Rumble. Let her sit down.
And that stopped Steve Austin from winning it 3 times. It stopped Randy.
Come on.
It stopped John
If
Cena.
she
it
can't
stopped
win
Triple H.
Jeopardy, she can't win the Rumble.
Can't get a single question right on Jeopardy. Let's be clear. But regardless, I think Rhea's retaining. I mean, obviously, I think Rhea's retaining. Although, to be fair, I would love to get baited and switched here. I think Zoe Stark as champion would be super compelling. And Lana brought up a really good point a while back. I can't remember what show it was, but Finn and Damian lost their tag belts. Dom lost that North America title. Rhea losing the women's title, even if it's just for a few weeks, could be interesting to see play out. I just think it'd be really entertaining for Rhea to lose, because where no one's expecting it. I think this could be one of those really good shock moments in wrestling if it happened, but I don't see it happening. I'm pulling for Rhea
And
here.
to your credit, I definitely could see this as a really cool shock moment, but it's not Zoe Stark. That's not the person who would create this shock moment to me. I don't feel it that way. And I like Zoe Stark a lot. I've really grown to enjoy her wrestling quite a bit, especially in most recent time. With you, Topher, on the idea of maybe this could make her a Royal Rumble candidate, depending on how well this goes. But I gotta say, even if it's not a Royal Rumble candidate, matches with Rhea Ripley, now that she's been seeing screen time, has been making women. If you look at her feud with Raquel Rodriguez, that made Raquel. She was not in a place that was looked on very favorably by a lot of people that I very well remember. But now it's like, she kind of feels like a threat. And it's because she had such an excellent match with Rhea Ripley, and that has propelled her into being a little bit more dominant, a little bit more important in the ring. And the exact same thing could happen, Rhea Ripley is kind of becoming a very edifying champion, which is exactly what you want. You want the champion to edify all people who give her a challenge, and that is exactly what I think is going to happen here.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Yes, Rhea's winning.
Oh yeah, I definitely think Rhea's winning, and but I feel like this is the time to give Zoe that push that she needs, or that, I think I might agree with Brooke. It might be the one to position her to win the Rumble, and I wouldn't even be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that either. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the newest match up that we had just announced yesterday, because it started with it was going to be Ray. Then it was like, nope, Ray's injured. So now it's Carlito. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, good. Carlito. Then they were like, oh, nope. Carlito's injured as well. So now it's Dragon Lee versus Escobar. And I'm kind of like, okay, I think this is going to be a technically really good match. Like, we're going to see some exciting things happening in this match. We're going to see some spots that we are going to be like mind blowing. We're going to see some really good things happening. But I'm excited to see it, but I'm not excited to see it, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like in the middle with it, this match now. I was looking forward to seeing Carlito in his first match back in the WWE. So when it was Carlito, I was like very excited. And I'm like, great. Nothing against Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's an excellent performer. I know that. I'm sure he's going to give us a great show. But I was more excited to see Carlito in his first match, full match back, since he's been back in the WWE. But now we're not going to get that. And I don't know. I'm optimistically okay. I don't know what I am about this match now. I don't know. I hope something happens in this match to make me excited. But as right now, I'm just like, okay, all right.
I'm going to be maybe controversial here and just flat out say this. I'm disappointed in this match because, like, for the reasons you mentioned, Lana, Escobar, who I think is a tremendous talent and I think has a bright future, was going to get the rub against Rey Mysterio. That couldn't happen because Rey's injured. Well, then he was going to get the rub against Carlito, and now that can't happen because Carlito is quote-unquote injured. And so now, instead of this being some sort of marquee match, we're getting Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee, and no disrespect to Dragon Lee, but this is not a main event anywhere in the world. This is like, I feel like this is the reason why I didn't watch 205 Live. No disrespect to 205 Live and its candidates, but like, yeah, I just think that this is not the match I was looking for. I'm sure it'll be a fine match. I'm sure it's going to be good, but I'm going to be a little contrarian here. That this is the most skippable match on the card, and it wasn't 24 hours ago. And I think it's okay to be disappointed. This card was loaded. We were going to get the return of Carlito versus Santos Escobar. Escobar doesn't even know where to put brass knucks at. You set them on the ring apron. Come on, man.
First off, not too much on 205 Live.
I hear you, bro.
Secondly, I am so excited for this match. I am beyond excited for this match. I don't care about the storyline. I don't care about Escobar turning heel. I don't care about them pulling Carlito off this card. I don't care about Ray having his knee injury. He's had surgery 6 times on his left knee. But for me, this is going to be I'm so excited for this because Dragon Lee is one of the best working wrestlers alive. Santos Escobar is one of the most underrated working wrestlers alive. And these two are going to put on a Matt classic tonight. To borrow a quote from Kalisto, they're going to do some good lucha things. And I can't wait. Also, yay, Axiom got to fight Dragon Lee on the main roster, and I was so excited. It was such a good match. Call him up. Just call him up. Put him in a tag team with Dragon Lee. Make me happy. Please, dear God. But, yeah, is it weird that I'm low-key calling Dragon Lee here as well instead of Santos? Is that wrong of me?
It is wrong. And you should feel wrong for saying it. Now, I have to build to something. First of all, Toph the Oath. I heard your opinions. I heard your opinions of Santo Escobar. But let me tell you something. All right? This man, my boy Santos, if you go and watch Lucha Underground, all right, let me tell you, is one of the best performers, one of the best mic workers, one of the coolest people to touch a ring, period, And
King
not
Cuerno.
everyone in WWE knows that because he's been given 0 shots. He's been given negative ideas. And you're right, Toph. It was disappointing that we aren't going to get that shot against Carlito. But I'll tell you something. You know who's making that feud? I don't think it's Ray. Sorry, Ray's feuds have been bad right now. Sorry, not Carlito. It's Santos. Santos has made every one of his moments so far in the last month. And this fight is going to be of no exception. It's going to be his first step. And then Carlito is going to be uninjured. And when he does, he'll come back and beat him. And then if Ray comes back, he'll beat him. So personally, I think this match is incredible. I'm a big Mystico fan. Again, shout out Luchador, shout out Lucha Libre Wrestling. It's amazing. Santos will be amazing. He was amazing in Lucha Underground. He was best as a heel in Lucha Underground. And we're finally going to see that dominant, cool bravado from Santos. This is going to be my favorite match of the night. Big fan of Dragon Lee, but he's getting killed tonight.
I think he should. I think if they don't let Escobar win this match, what is the purpose of him turning heel? What is the whole purpose of him turning on LWO if he's not going to, give them a reason to keep fighting? And the reason to keep fighting is he beat them. So it makes sense. And I agree with you, Wes. I do agree with you. I think Escobar is probably going to be a much better heel than he would be a face. So, because I've enjoyed him ever since he left the LWO and all of the mistakes leading up to leaving the LWO, it's kind of like, okay, all right, I see what you're doing, and I appreciate it. I think Dragon Lee is an awesome performer. I think he's going to be really, really good when in a different storyline. But I think right now, tonight, Escobar has to win this match, so it makes sense for him leaving the LWO and being a thorn in the LWO side for a while. And I honestly, with this whole Carlito being injured, I think we might get Escobar winning this match. Carlito comes back, maybe not to fight Escobar, but agree and join with Escobar because, like we said before, heel Carlito is the best Carlito. We don't want to see face Carlito because, as Brooke mentioned earlier before we got on the air, when was the last time we remember Carlito as a face and actually liked it? We never did. Carlito as a heel was always the best Carlito. So, yes, it's great he came back, and yes, it's great he joined the LWO, but we don't want to see that. We want to see Carlito in Carlito's element where he's spitting the apple in people's faces and he's doing all of that and he's, just mean.
All right. So the reason I'm going to call Dragon Lee here, though, and I do have a reason. It's not just because I think it'd be more fun. 2 reasons. 1, Dragon Lee has yet to lose a singles match on the main roster. Has not lost a singles match on the main roster yet. Has wins over people like Austin Theory. So I'm hoping that's going to keep pushing him up the card. Secondly, I don't think he's going to win clean. I'm pretty sure Escobar, I don't think the LWO is completely out of this thing yet. And I could definitely see like Carlito having some sort of a distraction here and costing Escobar this match. I could see, Zelina Vega coming out to distract Escobar in this match. I just don't think, just because somebody has just turned heel does not mean they need to go on a crazy winning streak to establish their dominance as a heel. To me, it's one of those things like Dragon Lee has been built up really well as an organic face that the fans are over with right now. So putting him in this match just to lose to Escobar, who, let's be honest, before this doesn't have the best win-loss record in singles matches outside of that U.S. title #1 contenders tournament he did a while back, I think it would kind of not really make a bunch of sense. So I'm hoping that Dragon Lee gets a win, they protect Escobar at the same time to not only further Dragon Lee's push, but also further a storyline with Escobar here. I could see Escobar, if they pulled Carlito out of this match for an injury, right? I still think Carlito and Escobar are going to be feuding after this. So I'm hoping Dragon Lee wins, Escobar and Carlito's feud goes further, and we see where it goes from there.
So with that being said, then in a world, can we see the beloved Dragon Lee. We get Carlito coming out. Everybody thinks Carlito is going to cost Escobar the match. But instead, Carlito costs Dragon Lee the match. So now this man that has been organically over, he's been on a great winning streak, now loses thanks to Carlito. And everybody boos Carlito for crushing Dragon Lee's push. I love this. I'm all in on if Carlito turns heel and we get Santos Escobar and Carlito as like, what if like the LWO just slowly transitions to a heel faction, right? Like that's like we get Carlito and then Zelina. Zelina's better as a heel too. Like yeah, they're great heels. And that's why the LWO is not working, because they're great heels and they're a face faction. Flip the
and part of the problem there though was Legado del Fantasma, like the original faction, right? Were fantastic heels in NXT. Big difference though, they didn't have Zelina Vega. They had a different person. I think it was Elektra Lopez at the time. But two, Santos was very clearly the leader, right? If they want to make that work, they either need to just let Santos be the leader, or they need to try to find a way to make us care about Joaquin and Cruz, because right now we don't really care about them too much. They are kind of seat fillers, no offense. You're both very talented. So I don't know how it's going to work, especially after the whole Zelina slapping Santos thing that happened recently. But regardless, the match is going to be great. It has a lot of intrigue behind it, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
We can always go back to,
Yep. All I can say, everyone is not ready for King Cuerno. That's all I can say.
Damn straight, everyone is not ready for King Cuerno.
Everyone is ready for Santos Escobar. No one is ready for King Cuerno, which is his Lucha Underground heel persona.
And what a stud that man. Again,
Period.
Take some time, go watch his ladder match with Phoenix. Eye opener.
Let's round this out, because this I feel needs to be the last match of the night, because this is probably going to be the hypest, biggest, most anticipated match. So why not let it end it? We have Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and the return of Randy Orton against the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. And I am living for this moment, because we have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the return of Randy Orton, because we've been hearing voices in our head for a year, and he's not there. Like, where is my apex predator? Now he's back, and I'm excited. Cody Rhodes made the call, and he said yes, and everybody was excited. I'm gonna let you all talk about what your thoughts are on this match.
Sure. Can we talk about Cody Rhodes' phone? Can we talk about his speed dial real quick? Because he be getting Jay to wherever he wants. He be getting us Randy Orton. I'm telling you, we shouldn't be fearing anything other than Cody Rhodes' phone. I'm telling you, I don't know if he got T-Mobile. I don't know if he's got Verizon. Whatever he is, he's connected. That's all I can say. I want that 5G.
When you ran a wrestling company, you've got numbers.
That's all I'm saying, Toph. That's all I'm saying. And about this match, of course. Listen, look at the wrestlers. Look at them. 10. Look at those 10 lads. We're getting fantastic heels, fantastic faces, maybe one heel on the face roster, which I will say, the only thing I wanted to point out is it's a little concerning to see Randall Keith Orton on a face faction, because I know no one who would betray a bunch of faces better than Randy Orton. I wanted to point it out. That's all I've really got to say. I don't know who's going to win this match. I'm not going to make a prediction. There is no Westradamus tingle in me right now. I have no idea. I don't even want to vote. I'll put my heart towards Cody Rhodes. I always do. But anything could happen. But I'm just going to say, I'll put it in there. We're seeing Randy Orton on a face faction.
I mean,
he loves betraying those.
I mean, we can't act like Dirty Dom is not sitting right there. And if you go have a team where you just put all your eggs in a basket, Dirty Dom is leading up this team. And I'm just like, ooh, I don't know. That's
I am so hotly anticipating this match. You have no idea because everyone has a reason. Like, and that's what's so beautiful. Even, and this is where long-term storytelling pays off because, and like the acting of like Jey Uso needs to just go win an Oscar because this man can act so much with his eyes. When you saw the reveal of Randy Orton being the fifth man and Jey Uso realizing he's the one that put Randy Orton on the shelf or was a contributing factor to it. Like, it was like, oh, he didn't know how he felt about that. Right. And like, you know, you've got such like Drew McIntyre. I saw he posted that thing on Twitter where it was like, he's like, you know, people are asking him if I'm a good guy or a bad guy now. Let me tell you, like, wouldn't you like, am I not justified in my actions for everything that has happened to me? I'm not a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's oh God, Drew McIntyre as a heel is in this form is the greatest thing. That's like this whole match is my like I am building WWE 2K23, build a match, whatever. And this is like a wet dream of like storytelling that I have told in my mind that has then played out on television. And this is the reason why WWE is the best promotion out there. And Triple H should get Booker of the Year because he knows what he's doing. Every single person in this match matters. The only thing that would make this better is if for somehow during the night in between Rhea Ripley's match and this match, something happens to JD Donna and Rhea Ripley has to replace JD Donna because get this guy out of here. I don't know what he's doing here. Rhea Ripley deserves this spot.
So I have a bad gut feeling, actually a good gut feeling, that we will be seeing a new World Heavyweight Champion at the end of the night. I feel it in my bones. It just makes sense. Because to me, right, McIntyre, as much as he wants that world title, right, I think that's the only thing that maybe could prevent him from this actually happening is McIntyre being there. But I think Randy Orton is about to turn on these faces so freaking quick. It's gonna happen. And I don't know. You got JD officially in the Judgment Day now, and freebirding tag titles is a lovely thing. And also, JD and Finn Balor just make more sense as a tag team to me than Damian Priest and Finn Balor does. And if Priest wins the title tonight, which I think would add so much more like interest in me for the World Heavyweight title going into Mania season, right? I just think it's going to be so much more compelling than having Seth hold on to it for any longer. The belt's not getting defended tonight, which is kind of lame. It is a big four, and we don't have a single world title match, men's world title match on the card. So to me, I'm thinking Judgment Day are winning this after a Randy Orton heel turn, RKOing Seth Rollins. Seth gets pinned here, and then Priest cashes in on Seth to win the World Heavyweight Championship. You get a full Judgment Day draped in gold moment, gives JD the tag belt. Everybody's happy with it because, dear Lord, they freaking need that briefcase to get cashed in at this point. And I also feel like in this storyline, they haven't really talked about Money in the Bank that much, right? It's kind of been knocked away here lately, especially since Seth beat Finn a few times now, and then he went on to feud with Nakamura for a little bit. Once that happened, Money in the Bank with Priest having Money in the Bank really hasn't been too big of a deal lately. So I feel like right now would be a really good time for them to use it because I don't know when else they're going to use it, so might as well. And it just makes a bunch of sense to me. And he's already in a match with Seth Rollins tonight.
You know what? I could see it, Brooke. You know what? You've intrigued me enough to where I have to give my own ending to this story. And what if we had Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso last two, and Randy Keith Orton takes some good sweet revenge on our boy Jay, and cost them the match that way? Because that's maybe the only way I could see it going. Maybe there's an injury, maybe there's a cash in tonight, maybe there's not. But I think if we're going to see Randy Orton somebody, it's going to be the person who put him out.
Go ahead, Topher.
I'm just so thrilled. Everything that you guys are saying, like I didn't even think about the Money in the Bank briefcase, and now I'm like, oh my god, oh, this match is so. Oof, I cannot wait.
It has a lot of ways that this match could twist and turn and move. I am going to take the opposite route of what you guys are saying because I don't know if tonight is going to be the night where we see Randy Orton be Randy Orton and Orton us into a turn because I feel like Randy coming back. I don't think that him coming back after a year will be the first time, the time we see Randy Orton come back and actually turn on everybody who he just got into this match with. Now, could I see him taking some shots at Jay? Possibly, maybe, because you did take this man out for a year. So I could see him not, so to speak, taking him out, but not really doing anything to help Jay Uso at any moment in any time. You know what I mean? Like Jay could be getting beat up and Randy could just be sitting there looking at him like, okay, deserved, and not really go out of his way to help a Jay Uso. But I don't know if I feel like this is the night where Randy Orton is going to actually flip and turn on all the heels this one time. Do I think Judgment Day could win this match? Sure, I do. And I could see the briefcase coming into play because last time we saw the briefcase, Sami Zayn stole it and prevented Damian Priest from cashing it in. I can see with this match being set up the way it is, Seth Rollins getting beat down to his socks, like literally getting beat down. His back is going to fail him a little bit. Damian Priest is going to be involved in the beatdown of Seth Rollins, and so it feels naturally right for him to be able to cash in his Money in the Bank in a match that he had control over instead of the opportunistic, wait till somebody else beat him up, then run in and cash in my Money in the Bank. I think for me, I feel like this face side with Randy Orton included, might have. I don't see the WWE. I don't see Triple H making Randy come back and not win. You know what I mean? I just can't see him coming back and not winning and giving the crowd, giving the people what we want, because we want to see Randy Orton succeed. We want to see Randy come back after a year or so and shake off his ring rust and get out there and perform. Now that's something else we need to figure out though and worry about, because he ain't been in the ring in over a year. Is he gonna perform the same? Is it going to be the Randy Orton that we knew, or is it going to be a version of Randy Orton that's maybe not as
Lana, I only got 3 words for you. It's Randy Orton.
I know.
We
aren't
said
talking the same thing about the Undertaker back when he first was on his.
Let's talk. Let's talk. All right, because Taker's great, and I would never ever take away anything from Undertaker. Have we ever seen a more naturally gifted wrestler than Randy Orton? Physically, just knowing the business, knowing how to make things impactful. If you came to anybody and said, take them a year out of the game, are they going to have ring rust? The last human being alive that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to question it's Randall Keith Orton.
See, you said
he is a prodigy.
Other than that, I was going to say Kurt Hennig, but other than that, legitimately, Randy Orton is in the conversation for one of the most talented people that's ever wrestled in this company. In terms of just understanding how everything works, he always knows how to make something compelling. The thing I'm worried about is less about ring rust, and I'm more worried about that back, because it was a pretty serious injury. I don't think they would let him come back, especially in a match like War Games, until he was ready. But I do have that tiny little bit of doubt, especially after what happened to Liv Morgan earlier in the year when she came back a little bit early from her shoulder and re-injured her shoulder. So we're going to see what's going to happen when it comes to Orton in the ring. But who's everybody calling for this? Because this is going to be a tough one for me.
So,
I don't. Oof. Go ahead, Topher.
I also wanted to point out this is also the first Big Four pay-per-view to not feature Roman Reigns and to not be bloodline story dependent. So this is an opportunity for these 10 men. And I mean, I know Jey Uso is technically a part of the bloodline, not part of the bloodline, but it's really not bloodline centric. This is an opportunity for these 10 men to prove that they are going to be able to carry the torch and to carry storytelling and to carry WWE into this next era post bloodline, because the bloodlines, I think Roman's done at WrestleMania. So this is going to be that next era. And so this match is so important for so many reasons, because they have to carry the day and it has to be so impactful that we're sitting here going, yes, every single one of these men is a Hall of Famer.
So, final thoughts here on any of this?
Yeah, you know what? Unless we're going to see the Randall Keith Orton betrayal, my mind definitely goes to the faces winning here, because the Judgment Day can survive a loss, but I think Cody's so close to Mania, Rollins with his streak, Orton's return, every piece of that, Jay being pushed in Raw up to the moon right now. I don't see any world where you can have any of these men afford a loss.
Yeah, that's my prediction is Team Cody Rhodes is going to win the match, and then Randy Orton is going to just RKO everybody.
Yeah, that I can see. I can see.
Mean, is it weird to me that I don't feel like whoever the team that wins War Games here matters too much? It's more about what happens after War Games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I honestly think the faces have a good shot of winning. I think the heels have a good shot of winning. If the heels lose, JD's taking the pin. If the faces lose, Sammy's probably taking the pin. So it really doesn't matter to me too much, unless it's Jey Uso taking the pin, because Randy Orton. But regardless, I am just so excited for this match to play out. These are 10 incredibly talented workers, and all of them are going to give it their damnedest in that damn ring, in that cage. But I believe we have one more thing to talk about, because it has been dominating the headlines for 2 months now. So,
I mean, I'm just shocked that you all, I said it at the beginning of this when we were talking about this, and y'all have totally disrespected and disregarded the fact that Dirty Dom is in this match and we acting like they don't have a shot. Like, I don't understand you guys. I don't get it. I don't understand why we acting like Dirty Dom is not going to be a factor in this match. But that's my opinion. And
I was a Dirty Dom fan before anybody else. Okay, I was the first Dirty Dom fan. You could call me a Dirty Dommy. Okay.
Oh.
Please don't. Please never call her for that ever. Don't call her for that, please.
But there are more important things in this War Games match than Dirty Dom.
There are more important things. So let's talk about it, because the rumors have been swirling all over the place. The timelines have been going crazy. If you're on the wrestling timeline, if that's who you're associated with, everybody has been talking about this. Survivor Series is in Chicago at the Rosemont Horizon, where things happen. Well, the Allstate Arena, as they want to call
And
it.
on November 25th.
Where things happen. And but there's only one person who is actually a native of Chicago, Illinois, who has been rumored to be, who is going to be in the building tonight. And that is the one and only CM Punk. And everybody is wondering, is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? The return of CM Punk, is it not? Is it happening? I want to know from my panel here, do we believe CM Punk is going to show up at Survivor Series tonight? Or is this just all rumors? I'll start with you, Toph. What do you think?
So, I think, especially with In Living Color's digitally remastered Cult of Personality just so happening to have dropped yesterday, there is nothing I want less than CM Punk to return to WWE. I think he is a cancer in the locker room. I think that he is bad for morale. I think that it is utter, like, it just, anything he touches, I think he's a big whiny baby. I'm just gonna say that, okay? If he doesn't get his way, he thinks the whole world's against him. And you know what? It can't always revolve around Punk. However, with all of that being said, if his music goes off tonight, I am going to mark out and scream with the highest of pitches known to human beings, because the moment of CM Punk returning to a WWE ring, the proof that just truly with WWE, there is no such thing as never. Like, this is a man that you never would have thought would return, but we never would have thought Ultimate Warrior would have returned. We never would have thought they would have given their the dues to Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, you know, the WWE is the face of Never Say Never. And I say, if you can bring him in for a limited capacity, 6-month deal, Survivor Series to WrestleMania, let him show what he's got, get a WrestleMania payday out of him. Oh, baby. So, yes, I hate it. Bad for business. Can't wait to see it happen.
Stradamus? Are you getting a tingle?
So listen, I had no thought that Punk would come back until they made Randy Orton not a surprise anymore. It was that moment where I went, hey, wait a minute. Why did we blow that whistle early unless we have a bigger surprise at hand? And that made me really curious. Now, first of all, though, I do have to respond to Toph's thoughts, because firstly, on this podcast, gotta say it first time, F the Elite. That's all I gotta say firstly on that matter.
F what?
Is I think F the Elite. F the Elite. Don't care. Kenny Omega, you're cool, but F the Elite. Now listen, I think that Punk was in a locker room that didn't appreciate him, and I don't think a Chicago native takes very well to people bullying or underappreciating him. But you know who does appreciate him? Chicago. You know who does? WWE. And I think that a lot of the problems that were in the AEW locker room would stay in the AEW locker room if he returns. But it doesn't matter if he doesn't return at all. But there have been so many hints. Are we going to just forget about the 75 little small, you know, maybe sometimes not small, maybe not indirect hints that we've been seeing? If it's not now, it's never. And we wouldn't have made Randall Keith Orton not a surprise unless we had a bigger surprise at hand.
I don't know. I can't. Okay. So part of it, right? Part of me is thinking, okay, in Chicago, the environment's perfect for it. You know, there have been all these hints. Punk's been teasing it on his Instagram. You've got Nakamura's weird call-outs that have been happening that they seem directed at somebody who's got a big name. The only other person that really makes sense for this call-outs to be aimed at is AJ Styles, and, like, they're on different shows, so that doesn't really make sense. And, like, Nakamura Punk is a feud that I've wanted to see happen for, like, a decade now. But part of me is there, and then the other part of me is like, would Triple H actually be okay with this? Because we know they have issues. You know, we know that they have had issues. And a lot of people used to say, well, even if Vince retires, Triple H being in charge is not going to bring Punk back, right? And I agree with that. So it's one of those things of, like, is Triple H and CM Punk willing to set aside both of their egos, right? Two of the biggest egos in the history of pro wrestling. Are they both willing to set aside their egos for the sake of the fans and for the sake of wrestling? I don't know. So to me, it's going to be one of those things. If it does happen, him and Nakamura are going to feud, and that's going to be amazing. If it doesn't happen, it's never going to happen. So to me, I'm going to say he's not going to show up tonight. I just don't think that either one of them are willing to drop their ego enough to let it happen. If it does happen, I will mark out. I'm not going to lie. But I just don't see it happening tonight.
I kind of, no, here it is. I do think Triple H and CM Punk can put aside their egos for something like this, because what we do know about Triple H And he is definitely, I'm doing what's best for business. And business wise, this will be incredible because as much as people say they don't like CM Punk and CM Punk is this and CM Punk is that, CM Punk is still CM Punk. And if he walked out of from that curtain in Chicago at a Survivor Series, that roof will come off that building. Like people will mark out, like you said, they will lose their minds. It will be the biggest pop that we've heard in a long time, and it will be incredible. And Triple H knows that. He knows that that is going to be headline news. People are going to be talking about it. It's going to be all over social media like crazy, the return of CM Punk. So I think for as far as ego wise for Triple H and CM Punk, I think they will be able to put those differences aside because they know what's best for business. And also being older, being wiser, maturing a little bit, that changes you. We saw that with with Ultimate Warrior. Because he was never coming back to the WWE. But as you get older, you realize what I was mad at don't make no sense anymore. It ain't that big of a deal. What we were feuding about, what we were mad at each other about, it really ain't no big deal because now it's been years and you're like, I don't even remember what I was mad about you for. So you know what? Let's squash that. So I don't think the ego is what's going to be something that holds them back, especially when it's good for business. CM Punk is going to want a good paycheck out this deal, and I think Triple H is going to be able to put any differences aside. Now, why I don't think it will happen is because I don't know if they feel like it's as much as it's good for business, is it going to be worth it in the end? Like, how long is CM Punk going to be there? Is he going to come just for an appearance on Survivor Series? Is he going to, actually work while he's in there? Is he going to go back and is he going to be a part-timer? Is he just go pop in at, random things and then go again? Like, is it worth it in the end? And I don't know if it's worth it to have another part-timer because we got several. We got Roman Reigns pops in when he feels like it. Brock Lesnar pops in when he feels like it. John Cena pops in when he feels like. Do we really need more pop-in people? Even our Logan Paul is the champion, and he pops in when he feels like it. So it's like, do we really need more pop-in players on the roster? So I don't know.
So I think you bring up a good point, Lana. But I actually think counter to that, I think more part-timers is actually really good. I think that wrestlers in general, for the benefit of their longevity, need an off season. And so I think if we can constantly have a cycling of top stars being able to come kind of in and out and fill the gaps of when the others are not there, I think that could be actually a huge benefit to the company. And then everybody shows up for WrestleMania season and it's a big blowout. But yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I get that and I understand that, but we have pop-in players, but then we have these certain players who are there constantly wrecking their bodies just so the pop-in players can come in, be the star of the show, and then pop on out. So if we're going to have pop-in players, everybody needs to have a season. Don't just give certain people a season, and then you got people like a Seth Rollins who killing their bodies because they working week after week after week after week, and all these other people, like, we need to rotate the pop-in players. Like, everybody should have those moments of popping in, popping out, popping in, popping out. But,
Yep, and I completely agree, Lana. But also, I have to point out that if we already have set a precedent that Triple H is okay with pop-in players, even if maybe me and you, Lana, agree that it's kind of a crap move overall, perhaps Triple H will do it. He's already been doing it.
Yeah.
So if he's already ready to make those deals, that means those deals are at the table.
Yeah.
But you use, and this goes to tonight's main event, you use those pop-in players to elevate all 10 men, well, with the exception of Randy Orton, but Randy Orton was not, Randy Orton's not necessarily a pop-in. He's returning from an injury. So Randy Orton aside, 9 of the wrestlers that are in the match tonight, the main event of a Big Four pay-per-view, are all full-time wrestlers. They are not pop-ins, but all of them got rubs throughout the last year from pop-in players.
Yeah.
I think that is what is elevating it and making them, they have to have this good continuous cycle. So with that said, again, back to the CM Punk of it all, I think that because of the precedent that has been set, when we knew, but we didn't know about Cody Rhodes, right? Like it was like, oh, super obvious the whole time. But then there was also in the back of our head of like, do they really have Cody? I think same thing with when, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt, when he returned at Extreme Rules, we knew, but we didn't know. We had all of these hints, we had these things, but we didn't know. But then in hindsight, it was very obvious. I think that's what we're getting here. WWE is nothing goes out on WWE broadcasts on accident.
But they don't want it. Nope.
Everything is intentional. WWE is not teasing something that is not happening, right?
True.
Unless, of course, you're trying to promote the new Rock movie on Netflix, then you make a big deal out of The Rock's 25th anniversary in WWE and then just don't have him show up at that Survivor Series.
Go get an Acorns credit card, guys.
but
get in that little egg thing,
which we all thought Rock was showing up that night and he didn't. But I can't think of how many times in the history of WWE did we think that there was a possibility that somebody could show up and then they just out and outright didn't.
It's happened a few times, and it's just, it feels like the perfect storm. But I just don't know if that storm is actually going to happen or not. Like, we just need to see, it's really going to be one of those things we're going to just have to tune in and watch and see if he shows up or not.
Yeah.
Now, on a different note, Topher, you've already said you would not be excited about it. Lana, Wes, how do you guys feel if it does happen? Are you happy or not?
If it happens, I'm happy. I'm happy to see it because it's going to be good for business. And what's good for business is good for the universe. And so I'm very happy to see it happen if it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be like, oh, well, okay, maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I feel like if it does happen, I will be like everybody else. I will be screaming a scream that I never screamed before. And I will be very excited. I will love to hear the pop of the Chicago fans when their Chicago boy comes out after probably never thinking they'll see him in the WWE ring again, and what his actions are going to be like. What is him coming out going to entail? Is he going to come out and help with, in what match? Where do we see CM Punk actually coming out? Is he coming at the end when it's all over and the carnage is done and he's just picking the bones of people? Or is he going to be effective in the match? Like, what is his purpose if he's here? Like, I don't want him to just walk out and be a backstage on the back of the stage, pointing at at a sign, or I'm here and that's it. That's how it goes off. He's standing up on the ramp. Like, I want him to be involved in something if he's going to be there. Or it might be his intention to come out and just say he's going to be at the Royal Rumble.
See, there's that, but to me, the problem with Punk coming back tonight, right, is something you just mentioned. Where would he slot in, right? Because the only thing that reasonably makes sense to me would be the Nakamura stuff, right? That has been happening on TV lately with these like cryptic promos that nobody's been able to figure out what they mean online, other than the idea that it's going after some bigger name. And the only bigger name that makes sense that isn't either wrapped up in something else right now is AJ Styles. So to me, if it's that doesn't make any sense. They're on different shows. If so, whoever else it's going to be, it would have to be Punk, right? Allegedly. Especially since Nakamura's been using a GTS lately for whatever reason. So if he does come back tonight, right, you can't open the show with CM Punk, right? You can't end the show with CM Punk. So you'd have to do it somewhere in the middle, right? But then you run the risk of Punk showing up and it overshadowing the rest of the card. So, like, it's a delicate balance that they're going to have to walk tightly if it does end up happening. But it's just so rare that we get to a point where nobody knows about something like this, and it does end up happening. Because we knew MVP was coming back at the Rumble when he came back. We knew the Hardys were coming back at WrestleMania when they came back. Or at least we thought there was a really good shot, This is one of those things where there's a lot of rumor going around. Yeah, they're dropping hints at it, but we're not sure. I mean, we knew when Bray Wyatt was coming back last year. So, like, it's a really interesting thing that they're going to have to do, but I just don't see it happening tonight, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. See, you said something that just like I'm thinking we only got 5 matches on this card, and this is a Survivor Series, and even with the War Games aspect, this pay per view usually is 4 hours because it's Survivor Series. It's one of the big four, so
Correct.
it's usually a 4 hour pay per view. Now, 5 matches with 4 hours, it could be done, but that means some of these matches got to be super long. And the two War Game matches are going to be long, which is
Yeah,
great.
45
But
minutes.
it's some time. Like if we get a Gunther smash against the Miz and the Escobar Dragon Lee match is what 10, 15 minutes, and we filling it up with promos and things because I'm sure we're gonna get a Grayson Waller effect at something point showing up or something. Some
Him and
filler or
Austin
something.
Theory.
Him and Austin
Yeah.
Theory filler what happy. I feel like there is time in this card for a surprise match. Now, if we get a CM Punk Nakamura match just pop out of thin air, it's kind of like what? But okay. It's like sure.
Will not complain about seeing
Won't
that.
complain that we see it, but it'll be like, where did that come from? Now, could I see a CM Punk trying to come out and do a match where we don't know nothing about? I believe so because I feel like WWE is trying to get back to the point where surprises are happening and we know nothing about the surprises because if we think back to SmackDown when The Rock came back just recently, nobody had any idea that The Rock was even in Tempe, Arizona and that was happening. He just happened to be there for College Game Day. And then he just happened to see that SmackDown was there that day, that weekend, and was like, oh, The Rock is coming back. And then The Rock showed up. We didn't know The Rock was going to show up. That was not a thing. I think
and when they were in Indianapolis recently, Pat McAfee showed up.
Showed up. So I kind of think WWE is trying to get back into that of trying to surprise the fans without us having any knowledge. But they're doing this with these rumors and things to get us talking about it. But I think a match could happen. It's not like they won't have the time. It's on Peacock. They have their own slot. They could go over and it'll be okay.
My thing about the tight lips in WWE is I do firmly believe that you can have all your sources and everything like that, but like those that are in the know are not going to say. And I think that because some of the top talent have come out and said that they are not aware that CM Punk is going to return. It is not beyond WWE to not tell the top talent of what is going on. Now, with that said, could there be some denial in place? You know what I mean? What really got my gears shifted was Corey Graves was doing his interview with Kurt Angle, and Corey Graves has been very anti-Punk. Well, in the interview, he said, ultimately, what's best for business is best for business. If Punk does return, if Punk does come back, I'll shake his hand. I'll work with him. We'll be coworkers, and that'll be that. Which is like, wasn't an emphatic denial. It's and Seth Rollins has been hating on Punk. That's a built-in storyline.
We also got to talk about Nick Aldis because Nick Aldis had some comments that went pretty viral a few days ago where they were asking him about it and they got taken out of context. And it was like basically he said that there's no room for him, yada, yada, yada. But they got taken out of context and that wasn't really what he said. And he had to backtrack the statement to basically what Corey Graves said. So to me, the only thing I'm worried about is if Punk comes back, what is the expectation? Because we already, in my opinion, we already have, Cody Roman going to happen at Mania, probably like 90% chance it's going to happen. We've got whatever's going to happen with the World Heavyweight title right now with some combination of Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, something of that nature, right? So to me,
could be Punk, Seth.
But do we want that?
Yes.
I don't want that for a world title. I don't want that for a world title.
Punk versus Seth.
I don't want that for a world title. But also, I don't think Seth needs to hold on to that belt until Mania. I think he's about done everything he can with it. I want someone else to have that belt. So to me, I just don't know where he would slot in long term. And we also know how big of a whiny baby Punk can be about when he doesn't get his Royal Rumble 2014.
CM
That's all
Punk
I have to
versus
say.
Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Take the
Listen,
world
this is
title
all
away.
I'm gonna say. Brooke,
good.
you asked me and Lana, and I have stayed quiet so far about how I would feel
Mhm.
with CM Punk's return. Well, let me
Mhm.
tell you something. All right, you can look into my eyes, and I'll tell you this: CM Punk is one of the best. He is a fantastic wrestler. He is an exciting personality. It is in Chicago. I doubt that we will see anything other than that. I think that AEW was a crap place for him, and there were things that flared. I think WWE, for what it's worth, is a more mature locker room. You can say a lot of things about the locker rooms, but I think WWE is way more mature because they have way more vets. They have way more people who are ready to do business and not think about egos. AEW, for what it's worth, is great, but it still is that individualist out for themselves wrestling that we saw in the 90s and the 2000s. WWE is a different place, and in that place, I think CM Punk can survive, fit, and thrive.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
If clear
Well,
expectations are set,
Will he
Punk
show up?
can
Y'all
thrive.
are gonna have to tune in tonight at Survivor Series to find out. Start
Yep.
time 8 p.m. Eastern, so forth across the time zones. You all know how to count from there. But yeah, Survivor Series,
I was about
y'all.
to say, did you want to wrap it up, Brooke?
I mean, I
And you
can
know
if
what?
you want.
No,
Hold on. And you know what? I'm going to throw in something extra, all right? For everyone watching, okay? If CM Punk makes the return and enough people, I'll make it like 4. If 4 people tag anyone here on social media, I'll make a Twitter.
Oh, y'all see those
A
Twitter?
dedicated wrestling Twitter. I'll do it, guys. You will see my posts. You'll see my reactions. So if you want to see that, please hit us up on socials. And, who knows?
I
Maybe your
mean,
boy will do something.
you could hit us up on all of our socials at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And make a Twitter post. Tag the Cup Pod, tag myself, Brooke, or Toph, and we will let Wes know. So Wes can make a Twitter because that's the goal here, people. We're trying to get Wes to actually make a Twitter,
Listen, I'm
and
not above bribery.
so do that. Hit us up on all of our socials, and you see them. They're scrolling down there. Also, get your cup mug while you're down there. Get your cup mug and support at LanaG'sCreations.etsy.com. Subscribe to this channel. We appreciate you. Hit all the buttons to say you support us because we appreciate your support. If you hit the dislike button, just hit it twice. And if you want to hear if you're a fan of any of our other drag content or anything else, go hit us up on our main channel at the Cup Pod. Subscribe over there too because we're interested over there, just as interested as we over here. So do all the things, hit all the buttons, subscribe to our channel, watch Survivor Series World Games, and we will be back next week to talk about what we watched. We will recap and give you all of our reactions, see if our predictions were right, see if we were, if because we've been pretty good on this podcast about our predictions. I just want to say we've been pretty good. So we'll see if our predictions are right tonight. And you all have a good night. Enjoy War Games. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Somebody,
Cheers.
somebody call Ashton Kutcher because we're getting.
Wait, y'all, we didn't mention Samantha Irvin. She's the best ring announcer ever. There you go.
Period. We don't ever